clap. Hello, hello. Can you guys hear me? People call me Dom. No, it has been a few years since I've been in middle school. I'll admit to that. It has been a few years. And it's true, some things have changed since then. Right? There are some differences. When I was in middle school, it was forbidden. It was against rules, against the law, to have a beeper on school grounds. Who knows what a beeper is? Guys, there's like three. A pager? I didn't know. Not a cell phone. It was pre-cell phone. The beeper, yeah, it was, oh yeah. Something doctors have, right? Yeah, some doctors have it, right? That's all, no, there's a lot. Yeah, two-way. Because that's all it really did. Really, it's a one-way. It just received messages. When I was in middle school, you might hear this from older people, Pluto was a planet. Right? No, I'm sorry. When I was in middle school, everyone knew what 143 stood for.
What?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, we got one. 143.
143 means what?
Where do you get out of it? It's a beeper thing. You don't have beepers. But some things are still the same. For example, when I was in middle school, we had the cool kids. The kids that we all tried to be like, try to look like, try to talk like. And we also had the not cool kids. The kids that we made fun of because we don't want to be associated with them. Right? Has that changed much? No? Not really? There's usually this, it seemed like in every class there was always at least one kid that everyone just picked on. They picked on because everyone did it. There's no real special reason. There might be some kind of quality that we could find. The smelly kid, the dirty kid. Too big, too small, too wide, too short. There's something about that person, right? Maybe their skin was too dark, their hair was just didn't fit right. Their eyes are too chinky. Right? Okay, maybe you guys can associate. There's usually this one kid that everyone just made fun of. Because that's what everyone did. And because he gets teased all the time, that kid is often the mean kid, right? The not happy kid, the untrusting kid, the grumpy kid. You know what I'm talking about? Do you feel me? You know this person? Maybe you're this person, right, Adam? Maybe you can relate to this person. You've been teased, you've been bullied, you've been shunned. And when you see the picture of the real you, right, you're thinking like that woman was talking. I wish people would get to know the real me. Because maybe if they knew the real me, they wouldn't make fun of me all the time. They might actually like me. Or maybe you're the bully. You might not think of it as bullying because again, everyone does it. Everyone makes fun of that kid. I'm just doing what everyone else does. But if you thought about it, if you really thought about it, you might realize something dark comes out of you when you're around the not cool kid. Something dark comes out. And you start doing things, you start saying things, mean things that you normally wouldn't do. To be cool. And you begin to realize that the real you might be really dirty. Not all the time, but at least capable of being very, very dirty. And you know that you don't have any right to judge someone else. You don't have any right to hurt someone's feelings. You shouldn't cause pain at all. You know this. I know this. It happens. I want to tell you a story about a not cool person. You can find it in the Bible. It's in John chapter 4. I really suggest that you read it sometime. Ooh, which one's mine? The coral by the roof. They're sweaty. John chapter 4. When you go home tonight, read it in the full account and you'll be blessed. I assure you. But I'm going to summarize it for you real quick. I'll give you some background information. Oh, you don't have to go there yet. Matt. Yeah, thank you. Give you some background information as I share this story with you. See, one day, Jesus was walking through a country full of not cool people. Right? It was a country called Samaria. Jews all around, and Jesus was Jewish, hated Samaritans. Right? They separated themselves from Samaritans. Because Samaritans were technically Jewish, but they were considered half-breeds because they intermingled with the other cultures. They married non-Jewish people. They started doing non-Jewish things, you know. And so they were shunned by Jewish people. Right? They were considered dirty. And of course, Samaritans didn't like Jewish people because they're like, you know, why you gotta be like that? Why do you think you're all that? Why do you think you're so special? Why do you gotta look down on us just because we're from Samaria? Well, Jesus decided to take his Jewish disciples through this land, and he had to stop by a town to get some supplies. So he sends his disciples into town to get some supplies, and he's chilling outside at this well. And it's in the middle of the day, high noon, where the sun is like right there. There's no shade. It's hot. And then randomly, a Samaritan woman walks up to the well, the bucket to get water. This is random because typically women do this chore in the morning while it's still cool, right? You don't go out in the middle of the hot sun. You know, we live in Florida, right? You want to do something when the weather's nice, you go in the morning. It's still cool. You don't go at 12, you don't go at 2 o'clock. It's hot. It's miserable, right? And they're in the desert. You gotta remember this. So this is random. This is strange. In fact, in a lot of European countries, they have something called the siesta. Right? You guys are familiar with that? They do it in South America too. Basically, lunchtime, when it gets noon, when it's hot, everyone stops working. They eat a big lunch and they take a nap. So where everyone else is taking a nap, she's out working. Do you know why? You know why? Because she's not cool. Even in a country full of not cool people, she's the uncoolest of the not cool. They don't even like her. Even they think that she's dirty. Because she has had a lot of sin in her life. And because of that sin, people don't like her and they judge her and they probably hurt her feelings a lot. So that's why she's out at the well, alone in the middle of the day. But who does she meet at the well? Jesus. And you know what he does? He asks her for a drink. Boom! You don't get it, did you? You gotta understand, when John first wrote this gospel 2,000 years ago, when people first read this, their mouths dropped. Okay? This is scandalous. You put Lady Gaga, Britney Spears, and Kim Kardashian, you mash them all together, they couldn't do something this scandalous. Right? I'm serious. I'm dead serious. Jews did not associate with Samaritans. They were dirty. They were not cool. You don't associate with not cool people. Religious Jews, rabbis, teachers of the law, teachers like Jesus, do not, never associate with a Samaritan woman. Scandalous. To share water with a woman like that would make him so unclean. I'm certain that Jewish rabbis would rather die of thirst than take, I'm serious, very literal here. They would rather die of thirst than receive water from from the Samaritan woman, especially a sinful woman coming at it in the middle of the day like this. So when Jesus asks her for water, you know what she does? She calls him out. She says, "You're a Jew. I'm a Samaritan. How can you ask me? How can you even think about asking me for water?" It's right there in the Bible. She's completely taken back. She's confused. This is not the way normal things happen. And so Jesus uses this. He does what he does best. He confuses her to the point that she stops assuming things and starts realizing things. Jesus says to her, "If you knew who I was, you'd be asking me for living water." And she's a street smart woman. Okay? She's not clueless. She's not going to get conned by some guy at the well. So she says this. Actually, she doesn't say that. Good interchange over that. She says, "Hello, excuse me. You don't even have a bucket to draw water out of the well. How are you going to give me living water?" And Jesus answers her. Now is the time for a slide. Jesus answered, "Everyone who drinks this water will be thirsty. But whoever drinks the water I give them will never thirst. Indeed, the water I give them will become in them a spring of water welling up to eternal life." You know what? She heard that. She wanted that. So she answers her. The woman said to him, "Sir, give me this water so that I won't get thirsty and have to keep coming here to draw water." You see, she doesn't quite get it. She doesn't quite get it. She doesn't know what Jesus is actually offering her. What she wants is for the pain to end. She wants the pain to stop. If she doesn't get thirsty anymore, then she can just stay at home. She doesn't have to do this chore. She doesn't have to go and take the walk of shame down to the well every day. She wants the pain in the end. Jesus knows that. And he's trying to heal her, but she hasn't confessed or repented yet. She hasn't done that yet. She thinks Jesus is offering her some relief, but actually what he's offering her is a whole new life. So Jesus confronts her with her sin. Jesus reveals to her that he knows exactly how dirty she is. He has always known, and yet he was willing to talk to her, to share her water, and to offer her his living water. Something up until this point she didn't even realize she was thirsty. Once she confesses her sin and she realizes who she was talking to, when Jesus tells her, "I am the Messiah," her thirst for living water just overwhelms her. And do you know what she does next? She runs back to town. She runs back to town. Think about it. She runs back to her enemies. If you have so many enemies that you have to go to Walmart at 3 a.m. so you don't run into someone you might know, just so you can buy your groceries, right? Think about it. Think, you're at Walmart, 3 a.m., and you run into Bill Gates. And Bill Gates is like, "I want to give you $1 million. In fact, I'm such a nice guy, I'll give $1 million to anyone who asks me." What's the last thing you're going to do? At least the last thing I would do was tell anybody that ever hurt me, right? That doesn't make sense. That's not logical. Why would I want someone I don't like to be rich? My enemy, I want to rub in their face how rich I am. What does she do? This is not Bill Gates. This is not me. This is Jesus and this woman. She goes back to her enemies to tell them, "I have met someone awesome." To a town full of people have insulted her, who was mean to her, judged her to be worthless. The very people she was avoiding in the first place. She goes back to tell them about Jesus. She goes back and tells him, she's like, look, I met this guy. He's Jewish, and he asked me, a Samaritan, for water. I know it's crazy. You got to meet him. That's what she did. And of course, they follow her. Right? They follow her to the well because, well, they're curious. Right? Here is this troublemaker, this homewrecker, right? This really not cool person who's usually always quiet and hiding in the shadows. Right? She's always avoiding people. Now she's running into town, shining like a bright star. Talking about meeting a man who knew all about her life. And once they meet Jesus, they beg him to stay with them. And he does. He teaches them for 2 days. He spends 2 days in this town in Samaria teaching them. And many, the Bible says, many become believers. Why? Because they were tired of making fun of the not cool girl? No, of course not. Because Jesus helped them realize that they had a thirst inside of them. A thirst for something more than just collecting things. You know? For something, than collecting things that eventually are going to break, rot, or rust. A thirst for something eternal. For something real. A thirst for living water. We all have the concept of eternity in us. We know what eternity is even though we've never experienced it, right? Ever thought about that? It's because we were created in God's image. You and I, each of us, created to be like God. And God is an eternal being. We were created to live for eternity. And ever since sin entered into the world, there's been a longing, a thirst inside of us to be back by God's side in heaven for all eternity. So big a thirst. That's my challenge for you guys today. Obey your thirst and be cleansed by the living water. I want you to be washed pure. I want you to confess and repent. Jesus took the dirtiest woman in this town and used her to shine it. Think about it. She made the whole town shine. This Samaritan woman, and she didn't pretend that what had happened in the past didn't happen. She didn't lie to people about it. Because the real you can be really dirty at one point. But the real you can be forgiven. And someone who has accepted and received the living water that Jesus offers becomes a completely different person, a new life. Becomes a positive, a loving person, a forgiving person. A person that God can use to shine his light on the rest of his children, the rest of his creation. Let me close with this verse, some food for thought. In 1 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 26 to 28, Apostle Paul says this. Brothers and sisters, think of what you were when you were called. Not many of you were wise by human standards. Not many were influential. Not many were of noble birth. But God chose the foolish things of the world to shame the wise. God chose the weak things of the world to shame the strong. God chose the lowly things of the world, the despised things, and the things that are not, to nullify things that are. God can take you no matter how dirty people think you are, no matter how not cool someone says you are. No matter how dirty you may actually be, he can use you to shine in the world. If you would accept him as your Lord and Savior, let's bow our heads. Dear Father, I pray for my brothers and sisters here in this place, in this awesome place that you've gathered us, that they may see that they are full of eternal potential, that they were meant to shine so bright, that you are offering them some living water, something something that their souls long for and thirst for. I pray that they may obey the thirst, and that this may be real to them. Their faith may be real. I thank you, Father, for your forgiveness, for all that you've given me, all you've given my brothers and sisters here. And I thank you, Lord, for your faithfulness to your word. So I pray this in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen. Thank you very much.
All right, guys. So we're going to break up into discussion groups. First, I want you guys, well, actually, let's do this. As you walk out to go into your discussion groups, grab if you're in 6th or 7th grade, grab an Infused Middle School flyer. Okay, well, right now, either way.